Hey Food Slayers, it's Michelle here from foodslaying.com. I'm out here early this morning. As you can see, the air behind me is really thick. Out here on the West Coast, in the Pacific Northwest, we are surrounded by wildfires, some of the worst that we've seen in history, all up and down the West Coast, from northern Washington, or at least, the middle of Washington state, all the way down to California. And I just want to make this video really quickly because I'm out here without a mask and I don't want to be out here too long, but I want to just give a nod and a thank you to our firefighters that risk their lives to save ours. The next episode is coming out on 9/11, which we should never forget, and we should always be grateful for our firefighters. So I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for just doing the work that you do. So this week's episode is about turmeric, and if you are a fan of turmeric or you know the health benefits of turmeric, you may want to really listen into this episode, because this episode is about ground turmeric. It's not about the root turmeric, and this was actually a listener and donor suggestion. So one of the listeners to the podcast and a two-time donor, Cheryl, made this suggestion for this topic. So thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for suggesting that we cover turmeric, because it was really interesting to dig into it. And once I got the suggestion, I started by locating a study that was done by a Stanford scientist, and she wanted to understand why there were such high levels of lead in pregnant women and children and infants in India. Because in India, they don't use lead-based paints, and there isn't a lot of lead found in the water. So she was curious about where all the lead was coming from, and it turns out that lead chromate and sometimes lead oxide is added to turmeric powder to enhance the color and increase the weight of the turmeric. So, in this episode, finding those things out was really disheartening. To be honest, it really made me sick to my stomach, because we are told that turmeric is really healthy for us, that we should eat more of it, that we should put it in everything. I mean, now it's become so popular. Turmeric is actually one of the top selling spices in the United States and around the world. It is such a huge trend, I guess, even though turmeric's been around for a long time. And it turns out that turmeric has actually been adulterated since the 1980s, and that's 40 years, right? So that says something about what we know and what we don't know about the food that's coming into our food supply chain. And even though the FDA does catch a lot of the imports, because they do have some testing protocols in place to find products that contain lead, because in this country, we just don't allow that. There's no safe limit for lead in our food products. But it's still getting into the country. And the proof of that is there have been recalls in the last 10 years. So in 2011, there was a recall. In 2016, there was a recall. And even as recent as the summer of 2019, there was a recall out of New York City that, recalled several, or at least one turmeric powder product that was being distributed through all 5 boroughs of New York, as well as in Montana, I believe. So, we're getting this stuff in our food. Now turmeric's so popular that you can find it everywhere. It's in skincare, it's in makeup, it's in our lattes, it's in our food, it's in our soap, things that we put on our skin and our bodies. And lead can impact the brain function, the nervous system. You can hear the ambulance going by. There's still fires somewhere, but so I'm going to get out of here really soon. But lead can impact our brain function, our nervous system, our liver, our kidneys, all of these things that turmeric is promoted to help us with. Right? It's promoted as this healthy supplement, this healthy food, this healthy spice that we should all be consuming. And so I made this episode for that reason. And I hope that you share it with that one friend that you have who loves turmeric, who wants to, just put turmeric in everything, because it's really important to understand the impact of what we're eating. And so I'm gonna head inside because I don't want to get lightheaded or nauseous. I can already feel it. The air quality is really bad out here. Stay safe out there. Thank you to all of our firefighters. Thank you, Cheryl, for suggesting the turmeric episode. Thank you to all of my donors. I have a new donor, West. Thank you so much for becoming a donor on Patreon. If you want to support the podcast, you can do that on patreon.com/foodslain. And I'm going so fast because I want to get inside. And you can also make a one-time donation on the website. Every little bit helps. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share this episode with a friend. And until the next time, remember to eat clean, eat healthy, love your food. Never forget, stay safe, and I'll see you on the other side of the plate. Ciao.